And welcome back to the first episode of the spring semester of the Vaquero Insider. And of course, I am your host, Senator Skylar Howell, with my co host,
Senator Andrea Gaitan.
and this is the Vaquero
Vaquero
Insider.
Insider.
Now, of course, as always, before we start, we're going to go ahead and pass the floor over to Senator Andrea to give a quick disclaimer.
Of course, the views and opinions expressed on the Vaquero Insider podcast are those of us as host and guest and do not reflect the official stance of the Student Government Association as a whole. We are sharing our personal perspectives and ideas as senators, and our discussions are intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
And with that being said, we are so happy to kick off this new year, a new semester with this new season of the Vaquero Insider. Of course, it was an honor to be a part of it last semester. We had a lot of fun, didn't we, Andrea? We learned a lot.
A little too much fun.
A little too much fun, but I have a feeling the fun is not going to stop. So we're very excited to be here and to be able to have the chance to run it back, as they say. And I guess, firstly, I just kind of want to ask you, Andrea, what are you looking forward to for this new season of the Vaquero Insider?
I don't know. I think just, little things that we have planned. I don't know. I'm very excited to talk about a lot of things. Oh, also, especially, I've noticed that UTRGV students on Facebook has been getting a lot more, students coming in, especially with the new orientation. So I'm excited to talk about that.
Yes, and I'm also looking forward to seeing what new scandals pop up. I know we were just talking about Scootergate. Discussions. That's a better word. I know we were talking about Scootergate last semester, and hopefully,
right before we start.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have another one of those. But who knows? UTRGV is very unpredictable. I've come to learn throughout my years here. But we're going to be able to capture it all here with you, the listeners, and our viewers. And so, Andrea, do you have any future plans as far as this podcast? Is there any special guests that you would like to see us bring on board for this new season?
Well, I would like to bring in some, hopefully, current SJ members, maybe some that are not even senators. I know, we have the judicial branch, obviously. And then also, I know we had our former senators. You had brought in Edgar last season. So I was hoping, maybe we can bring in some. I know our mentorship program just opened up, so hopefully you guys will get to see us as mentors again this spring semester.
Yes, and what I'm looking forward to is really expanding our guest. I know a lot of our guests were SGA members or former SGA members, but I think this semester we're really going to start to try to bring in a wide variety of guests, not only from SGA, but just from around the university as a whole. I think it'll just make the podcast a whole lot more have a variety, and we can get those different perspectives. And so with that being said, we're going to hop into our first music break. And then when we come back, we are going to go straight into our most popular segment, which is the campus updates. And I know Valentine's Day is coming up. So with this next song, I dedicate this one to all the single ladies. And welcome back. And so with that being said, we are going to hop straight into our most popular segment, which is campus updates. So as the time of this recording, we are only in the second week back from, I guess, the winter break when we had taken that break. And so a lot took place not only last week, but also this week as well, as UTRGV is welcoming back its students. And the first topic I wanted to touch on was Student Org Night. So I was able to attend on behalf of my other organization, CEO, and we were able to set up a table and also watch the basketball game and get kind of all the student orgs participation. And it was really amazing to see all the excitement from the students. I don't know if it was because they had missed school or for whatever reason, but this was, I believe, one of the few basketball games I've attended, but it made me want to keep coming back because the atmosphere in the actual basketball game was incredible. Everyone was cheering whenever they kind of had the student orgs shout themselves out. Everyone made sure to yell as loud as they could, but I think what was more important was kind of seeing all those students get excited and enthusiastic about being a part of UTRGV and being a part of a student org. So I kind of wanted to ask you, Andrea, what does being in a student org, because you're in multiple, what does it mean to you?
I think the biggest thing is going to be community. The very first semester that I had entered into UTRGV, I immediately started getting involved with organizations. But the reason why it had even interested me was because when you go for example, to these tablings and these like involvement fairs around campus, they are always going to be so welcoming, like no matter which organization it is. So I think it kind of ties back to, I guess, almost first impressions when you enter as a freshman. And a lot of the ones that have been coming into this upcoming spring semester, I've seen them getting so involved. And they're saying, well, it's because these officers and just the dynamic between everybody is really great.
No, I will say I was there tabling for my other org, but someone did come up to me and say, "Hey, are you Senator Schuyler?" And I said, "Yes, of course." And you want to know what they asked me?
Oh, goodness, go.
Where was Senator Andrea?
Okay, I'm going to touch on that right now.
There should have been like missing in action posters for you because I don't know where you were.
It's very odd for me to not attend these events because it's going to be one of the biggest ones of the semester. But, and I mean, it ties to something good. I'm very happy to announce I started working at the Learning Center as an office aide. So while all of these events were going on, I was working, and it was barely the second week. I don't think it was too appropriate for me to call time off. And to be honest, I was getting a lot of FOMO because I kept looking at like the Instagram page, and I was seeing how amazing you guys were doing and all of the great representation, especially you know, doing 2 organizations for there. So yeah, I just wanted to touch that. It's not that I didn't want to be there, it's just I genuinely couldn't. So hopefully you guys will get to see me in other events, and I'm sure Senator Schuyler Howell, you know, I think you did good, at least from the pictures. I mean, you looked very excited to be there.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but you missed out on free wings
You're kidding.
and a free picture with the mascot. So
I can edit myself into it. I'll do a little sticker.
if anyone has Photoshop skills, please hit either me or Andrea up so we can Photoshop a picture of her with the Vaquero mascot. And that leads me to our next topic, which is actually both the Edinburgh and Brownsville involvement fairs. So they have them every semester, UTRGV, and so I was very happy to be a part of the Edinburgh involvement fair that took place yesterday. And for once, they had free food, and that's all I needed to hear. So you already know I was there. But even more than that was the fact that I was able to connect with students, and the involvement fairs that's the opportunity for students to really get connected, not only within the university, but also the student orgs as well. There was a bunch of different student orgs from a wide variety of majors and things that they do. And so I was able, when I wasn't tabling, I was able to kind of interact with some of these other student orgs. And I get surprised with just how, I guess, diverse UTRGV is as far as what their student orgs have to offer. And so every time there's an involvement fair, I don't think I've missed one yet, to be honest with you. They're that fun for me. I love going to them. I think the Brownsville one is happening right now as we speak. It's Thursday, and so they're having one in Brownsville right now. So for any students who maybe missed out on this involvement fair, I highly encourage you to attend future involvement fairs. That's how you're able to connect with the university and with your student orgs as well. And so, Andrea, what are your thoughts on the not only upcoming involvement fairs, but also any involvement fairs that you've been a part of in the past?
I think it's very exciting. And then I noticed that turnout is becoming a lot higher every single time. I know the last involvement fair we had gone to, I think we had, I don't even want to really make an estimate, but I know the sign-in sheets, they were completely filled. And I don't know, it's fun seeing other people having fun during these events. Like you said, there's a very specific atmosphere when all of this is happening, especially in the very beginning of the semester. And something I have heard from someone last week, January feels like the longest month for some reason. So it's almost like having that eagerness to want to come back and to want to connect with everyone again.
No, exactly. I think you touched it. You hit the nail right on the head there, and it's all about that connection. And so, like I said, I highly encourage any student to participate in any involvement fairs. And if you see me or Andrea there, make sure to tell us hi. Now, for this next topic, this one caused quite a controversy last night, and I kind of want to ask you about it. But before I do, for all of our listeners, let me kind of give some context. So, as all controversies start, it's on the UTRGV Facebook group chat. And so pretty much what an anonymous student had put is that her partner had cheated on her, right? So normally what she did was she deleted his TikTok from his phone, and he kept on calling her. And so she kind of was asking all the students, what should she do? And so my question to you, Andrea, is What would you do if you were in that situation? Are you deleting the TikTok?
Um, I mean, here's the thing. I think it really depends on the person. This got a lot of views. I don't know, to be honest. I'm not really one to start something or to continue something, so I wouldn't want to add any fuel to the fire if. I mean, here's the thing, Skylar. I think you've known me long enough to know that I probably wouldn't want to start another controversy.
That's true. That is true. Well, I would say this. Look, luckily, I don't have TikTok, so I would not have that issue.
No,
But I know,
neither do
but I know TikTok is now a touchy subject ever since, the whole ban and things, because now once you delete it, you can't add it
add it
back
back.
on. So it's pretty much like once it's gone,
It's
it's
gone.
gone. Now, when the first initial TikTok ban happened, Andre, were you one of the ones that jumped ship and deleted TikTok, or were you a TikTok loyalist?
So here's the thing. I've never had TikTok. I'm a big YouTube Shorts person. So I don't know. It never really interested me to get the app, though what I did feel bad about was that there are a lot of people that, have their livelihoods there. That's where they make money, or maybe that's where, they sell things, they promote things. So I did feel bad for those that kind of had to start looking into other apps. I know a lot of them ended up moving to Instagram for these types of things.
Well, see, for me, Instagram is my go-to. So Instagram kind of works for me like TikTok because I just look at the Instagram reels or don't call me old, but I even use Facebook Reels because I don't know. To me, it just gets the job done. So, luckily, I didn't have to worry about the whole TikTok ban, but I do know a lot of people that were affected, not only like as people that just use the app for entertainment purposes, but also, like you had mentioned, businesses, influencers, and other stuff like that. But that actually leads me to my next topic, which is more of an advice segment. I know on the Facebook group chat, I had personally answered a question from a student who was asking, because I know a lot of students that have this issue when they are trying to read or when they're trying to focus on their homework or more specifically on a book, right? They have a hard time staying focused or just even staying awake. I know I have that issue as well. I can have the most energy in the world, and then as soon as I start reading a book, my I just start getting sleepy for some reason. But I do know that was a question that a lot of students had kind of offered their advice on. So I wanted to ask you, what would your advice be for someone who maybe has a hard time focusing or even staying awake when they're doing their homework or reading a book for their studies?
I would advise that it will really depend on the person and where they want to be as far as atmosphere. Because I know there are students that cannot work in a loud environment. They cannot focus. But then there are those students that just cannot handle the silence. And I actually had a student reach out to me saying that she was in the teaching program and what were the best places on campus to kind of find a quiet space, just because I know that, we're right in the very beginning of the semester. The library is, you know, depending on the day, depending on the time. But for those that like, a little more lively, want to hear other things other than just kind of, listening to themselves reading, I would say the library, second floor. I think it's probably going to be one of the most lively places here on campus. If you want a quieter area, I usually recommend students to go to the university center on the first floor because there are also couches there. So it's not going to be quiet, it's going to be comfy. And another space that I had just found out about, and here in our learning center, you can go and you can sign up with your office aide, and you're able to study there for as long as you need. And it's usually very quiet. The only times is you will hear someone, obviously the tutors will be teaching students. So I would just recommend the atmosphere. So I don't know if you want it to be loud, or do you like it when it's quiet for you to focus?
For me, I need it to be kind of quiet, obviously, quiet in the atmosphere, but not when I'm reading. And so, for example, my advice that I gave was that I love to listen to music or listen to something whenever I'm reading, because if it's just me kind of reading without any sort of music or anything like that, I get really like distracted or bored. So I need to be listening to something in order for my brain to kind of stay focused on the reading. I also suggested what I do is I highlight things that I find either interesting or important to learn as far as the study that I'm trying to read for, because what that does is it kind of keeps my brain engaged to look out for stuff that might be important. And so when I highlight it, it keeps my brain active rather than just seeing a bunch of words and letting them just pass through without actually memorizing or learning the material that I'm reading. But I know there were a lot of great answers that were given, and so hopefully that student was able to get some sort of advice that they were able to use and take with them to help them, because it's barely the beginning of the semester. Don't even get me started when finals come around or when midterm exams come around. We'll be praying for that student. We'll just say that. But yeah, perfect. So the last segment or last topic I want to get into for this segment is, I know we're only in week 2, but I feel like a lot has happened still in UTRGV. And so I wanted to ask you, so far, have there been any memorable moments this semester that have stood out to you, barely 2 weeks in here at UTRGV for the spring semester?
I know it's very early, but when it's the first, I believe, first 3 weeks coming back, there's going to be a lot of like welcome back events, and we actually got to attend the welcome back bash here in Edinburgh. And I know we had posted about it on our senator accounts, and it was fun. It was just very cold, so luckily it was in the ballroom, so I believe you can like go outside. I ended up not going outside only because, again, I was not going to be able to handle it, but it was very fun. I got to see a lot of people there before we had run into each other. So I'm hoping to see a lot more of that. I know there's going to be hopefully some upcoming ones in the student union, which is, I guess, the more popular place when they're going to want to make events, especially towards the afternoon.
And I will say, on our post for the welcome bash, with the welcome back bash, UTRGV Barstool did comment. So shout out to UTRGV Barstool for that as well. And I believe even the mascot had liked our photo as well. So that was good to see some support from the mascot.
They
But
did. I
yeah.
think I had texted you a few hours ago because I don't know if Barstool had commented. I don't know if it was just very early in the morning or somewhere last night, but I didn't get to see it as soon as the comment went up. But I remember I had seen it this morning. I was like, Skylar, you won't believe who just commented. So we went back and we made sure to be engaged. It was very fun. It was very random to see, but we're obviously very grateful for all the people that are engaged, within our profiles and other things that we're doing on campus.
Which, speaking of like our future plans for the podcast, I would love to find out who is the admin behind the Barstool page, and I would like to invite them as a guest here. I think that would be awesome. So if the UTRGV Barstool owner of the social media accounts is listening, hit us up and we will make sure you are a guest here. We would love to have you, and I think that would be amazing. So I know definitely what I'm going to do after this. I'm going to hit up some DMs and try to secure our first guest here for this new season of the Vaquero Insider. But yeah, pretty much to touch on what you were saying, my memorable moments so far would be like the welcome back bashes, the involvement fairs. I know tomorrow is our first Senate meeting, so since the start of the semester, and so I'm looking forward to that, but we'll get more into that in the next segment. But yeah, even though it's only been 2 weeks in, there have been a lot of memorable stuff, and I'm looking forward to making more memorable moments so far as the semester goes forward. And so with that being said, when we come back after this music break, we are going to be going into legislative agendas and to give you a sneak peek of our first Senate meeting happening tomorrow. And we'll go into all that when we come back. And welcome back to the Vaquero Insider. And so now, as always, we always kind of give you guys a preview into what's been happening within SGA, the Student Government Association. That way, we feel it's important as senators, we provide that transparency for you all and also that information. So I spoke earlier about how our first Senate meeting of the spring semester is happening tomorrow. And there are actually a lot of interesting things to look forward to. And so we're going to go over all of that here right now. The first interesting thing that popped out to me when I was reading the agenda is our special guest. So our special guest is going to be the Parking and Transportation Department. And so, Andre, I kind of wanted to ask you, is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to maybe hearing from the Parking and Transportation Department? I do know, as all students know, parking and transportation has kind of been one of the most biggest issues or I guess priorities that students have as far as the university. And so I'm just curious as if maybe you are looking forward to anything that might be answered there with the Parking and Transportation Department.
I'm excited to see what updates they have because, correct me if I'm wrong, but they did come last semester to one of our earlier
Yes.
senator meetings. So we, got to hear what things they have planned. So I'm excited to see, okay, so like what updates they kind of wanted to implement. And I think with every semester and just being a UTRGV student in general, and you mentioned this, parking and transportation is probably one of the biggest things talked about on campus, especially during the Facebook group. And as senators, we've heard all of it. We've heard a bunch of different perspectives here and then kind of what things they want to see. So I'm excited to know, kind of what's happening. And, it's nice having, I guess, an update on every guest that comes back, and they're coming back for a second time. So I'm excited to hear what things they have ready.
I always make sure to ask them as much questions as I can. I know last semester when they had visited us as a Senate, I made sure to ask questions relating to pretty much what it would take for them to maybe expand parking or I guess what their future plans are for parking. So I'll make sure to definitely follow up with any updates and questions that they may have answered. And of course, I'll go over all of that next episode. That way our viewers can kind of get some insight onto what the parking and transportation plans are. But that kind of also leads me right into the next interesting thing happening in our next Senate meeting, which is the introduction of a resolution that I have proudly authored along with a fellow senator who is also a veteran. And this legislation is, I've spoken about it last semester, but as you know, or maybe as you don't know, legislation takes some time. And so it's taken me a while to author it and to get all the information I need, but I'm proud to announce that tomorrow I will be presenting a resolution that will see, or I guess support the creation of designated parking spaces for our UTRGV student veterans here on campus. And so I don't know how much you want me to go into it, Andrea, but I am really looking forward to it. As you know, you sponsored it, and so I guess kind of we'll hand the floor over to you. What made you want to sponsor this legislation?
I think it was just the passion you have for it, but also as well as the other co-author. I did have a chance to speak with him as well as other staff at UTRGV. They're also supporting this. I got to hear from a lot of different students' perspective, and I really like that you touched on this subject. I'm very proud to be sponsoring this one. And yeah, it's been in the works for quite a while. Like you said, legislation takes quite a long time to get it passed, making sure it's just as efficient. So I think myself and the other senators are very excited to hear the presentation from both of you guys.
And I'll kind of save some of the things I have up my sleeve for tomorrow, but I will say there was a reason it took me this long. Usually, as you know, Andrea, I'm really fast on my legislation, but this one I really wanted to make sure that I took the time needed and I got support not just from me, but also from other not only senators, departments within UTRGV, but also elected officials as well. And so I think tomorrow, once you see just how much support this has, even from our students, we did petitions and surveys on this, and in a short period of time, we were able to get over 80 signatures from UTRGV students. And so I'm really excited to present all of that tomorrow. And of course, I'll provide any updates on it next week on our next episode. But moving on from that, Andre, is there anything that you're looking forward to, not just in the legislation or not just in our special guest with the Parking and Transportation Department, but just in general? Is there anything you're looking forward to tomorrow at our next Senate meeting, or even just from our Senate in general this semester?
I'm excited to see a lot more outreach from us, especially I know personally I did have to open up my schedule quite a lot, only because I've been wanting to make it a mission to travel a lot more to the Brownsville campus, and I'm very proud to say that I have a lot more availability, especially on Mondays and Fridays, just to hear a lot of student perspectives on things that maybe they want to see fixed, or even just things that they want to improve, whether it's within a department, or maybe they see something that happens to be okay, like let's get this fixed, or it could even be on both campuses. So I'm excited to be a lot more involved than I did last semester. And I think with more time, being a senator, you kind of just want to open up more and you want to talk to students more and see what you can improve on. And I think it even helps us as well, kind of just what type of leader do you want to be? And I think we've improved a lot, whether it's, speaking skills, whether it's wanting to reach out to more students, or even if it's just to get more legislative work done. I think we've improved a lot, especially from last semester. I don't know if you kind of feel the same way on that subject.
No, yes, I feel exactly the same way. I think that's why me and you are such great host and co-hosts, because we think a lot alike and we share a lot of the same values and a lot of the same thinking as far as our roles as senator and how we can improve and how much we just love to connect with our fellow students as well. But yeah, great, excellent points on that. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to give a big thank you to every single student, especially the students that have reached out to me, either if it's through Facebook Messenger or the ones that have contacted me through via phone number or through Instagram. And I don't know, it kind of gets me a weird word, a little mushy about it, only because
For those of you not aware, she's currently tearing up right now. I can see the tears falling.
I don't know, I get a little bit emotional about it only because I feel that we've gained a lot of trust, and I'm so happy to see that students are trusting us, with issues that they might have. Don't cry, Skylar.
Sorry.
But yeah, I just wanted to give a special thank you to everyone that has been reaching out to us now that we've been coming back.
And with that note, I also want to add that we do have some vacancies within the Senate. So, in case any student wants to be a part of a leadership position, I highly encourage you all to apply on VLink. You just search up the Student Government Association. You go to VLink, right? You go to forms, and it'll be 2024-2025 application. And if you just fill out a few questions, hopefully you'll get interviewed, and then you'll make it all the way to the Senate, and you can be a fellow senator with me and Andrea. But yeah, there's a lot to look forward to this upcoming semester as far as the Senate. I'm looking forward to more outreach. I'm also looking forward to more legislation as well. The more legislation, the better. And I think this fall semester was kind of a starting point, and I think the spring semester, I'm hoping we're going to just continue to build on the momentum that we had built in fall, and I think you're only going to see a more active Senate and a also more involved Senate as far as senators and the students. So we're really looking forward to all that. There's a lot to look forward to. The future is bright, as they say, and we are going to cover it all as we continue to have these episodes of the Vaquero Insider. And so we are going to go to our last music break, and then when we come back, we are going to be wrapping up our first episode of the new season of the Vaquero Insider. But before that, I kind of wanted to ask you one more thing, Andrea, is what do you think is going to be the biggest difference from this semester, from our Senate versus last semester?
I think activity. I'm very excited to see kind of the little new events that we want to bring up, just seeing us be more active within the student body, trying to get I guess, that almost one-on-one time with students. So I think that is something that I really, really want to see, and I know that you and I have been already attempting to do that since last semester, but I think we're really gonna, up it up, get a lot more updated. So yeah, just a lot more activity between us.
Perfectly said. And so with that being said, we're going to go into our last music break. And when we come back, we are going to be wrapping up. And welcome back to the Vaquero Insider. And as always, as we wrap up this show, I always want to take the time to thank our listeners for taking the time to listen to me and Andrea yap, as they say, over the past hour to kind of give you as much information as we can and any important updates that we felt were necessary to inform you guys on. But yeah, we're really excited for this new season of the Vaquero Insider. I know me and Andrea are always thinking about ways how we can make it better, make it more exciting for you, the students, because that's really who we do it for at the end of the day. And so, Andrea, do you kind of want to say anything as we wrap up the first episode of the Vaquero Insider?
I just want to thank everybody as well. It makes me excited to know that our viewers are excited and they were really looking forward to this very first episode. And hopefully it is just as fun for them as it is for us just sitting here kind of, I guess, yeah, being informational. But to be honest, Skylar, you and I do, we yap quite a bit, but it's very fun on our end. So hopefully... Don't look at me like that. It's because you guys can't see what Skylar looks like at this moment, but he's been making faces at me the last 30 seconds.
Anyways, with with
Don't
that being
address
said,
it.
with that being said, of course, I am your host, Senator Skylar Howell, and I'm here with my famous, even more famous than me, co-host,
Senator Andrea Gaitan,
and this is the
the Vaquero
Vaquero Insider.
Insider.
So, for those of you who aren't aware by now, we have a tradition here at the Vaquero Insider, and this is why I was making faces because there's a certain song that I love to play at the end of all of our episodes, and let's just say my co-host isn't as fond of this song, but it's become a tradition at this point, and so it's a new season, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop tradition. So, with that being said, we're so happy for you all to join us on this first episode of the new season, and we look forward to catching you all on all future episodes. And we'll see you in the next episode.